Alright, so how to get past orange ranks. So what I picked up is like around orange to red ranks, that's when players basically start learning their like air combos or their really long combos where as soon as you mess up, you get like half your health obliterated from you. And you basically got to work out how to stop them from airing you or what they're doing to get into that combo. And it's usually something like they're catching you when you're moving forward, they're counting hitting you when you're button mashing, or you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time kind of situation, for lack of a better word. So you kind of got to see what's the reason for them being able to enter those really long combos, and you're going to have to try and start stopping yourself from getting to those situations, either by defending, being a bit more careful when you're approaching, less whiffing, that kind of stuff. So like that's a little bit of a hard thing to like cop, but that's probably why you might be like finding that now you're getting aired a lot or just getting comboed for half your health. That usually didn't happen in like before orange ranks. Usually you sort of got hit, but you weren't getting like half your health obliterated. So anyway, before I start, in Tekken 8, you need to develop a good offense before a good defense. This game rewards, I've tested myself. I've played matches where I just defend. I played matches where I try and do like my best offense. And you pretty much, it's an easier game to play if you develop your offense over your defense first. So that's basically what I pivoted to when I was playing Tekken. I just gave up on the whole defense side of things. We'll cover that in this video and what you need to do on the defense side, but you really need to focus on your offense first. So if you don't know how to use your characters, that's the first thing you need to focus on. Learn your actual character. Like, what do they do? What are they good at? What are like their specialties? Those kind of things. There's a point in knowing how to defend, obviously, but if you don't know how to crush your opponent with an offense, it's kind of no point in being a really good defender. So if I was awesome at defending against Ling Xiaoyu, but I knew no offense, it's like useless. Like, okay, what do? I defend all their stuff, and then what? I hit them like with a jab, and then they have to defend their stuff again. And the way this game works is these people can like mix you up. So it's basically a guessing game a lot of times where, yeah, you can read some stuff, but quite a lot of things you're sort of guessing. Are they going to use this string? Are they going to use that string? Are they going to go high, mid, or low? And it's just too much to try and keep gambling on. So you really want to make the opportunities that you get to your advantage. So you want to be able to defend some stuff, but then respond back with offense. So that's why I say offense is number one. So how do you develop a good offense? So what I did, obviously I focused on one character, but if you've got a few characters, you're going to have to replicate this with your characters that you use. The more characters you try and specialize in, it's kind of like you're spreading your resources over more things, right? So you're not going to have as much development as if you had focused on one character, but maybe you play Tekken a lot and you can do what I'm going to say next for all the characters. So basically the first thing that I did was I went against what people told me, basically. Like they said, oh, don't do this move, don't use that move, it's highly negative, people are going to punish you, blah, blah, which is true. But I basically looked at the moves that I like to use. So I like to use like that move a lot. I like to use like this kind of stuff and like this stuff. There's basically things I worked out when I was like button mashing what I liked to do. That was the first thing. Like I never use this move, for example. So the first thing I did was, okay, I like to do this kind of stuff, or I like to do that. Okay. Is there anything I can combo from that, or is there any kind of long string that is attached to that move? Like, does it go into something else? Like, does it go into that, into this, or? And you'll find that quite a lot of those moves that you like to use probably are a part of a longer game plan. So you want to look on the internet to find if there's any combo videos that use that move, or in the string of it, or in the actual combo. Maybe it might be the second move in a combo. That's great. Try and learn how you can actually use it in something, because it's kind of something you're going to find easier to pick up because you're used to doing it. So that was one thing that helped me. And then once you've done that, you basically want to look for other variations of the same thing. So if this move here I like to do, and I learned some really cool combo from it, let's say. In my case, it was pretty easy because it goes into an air combo. So I learned this one, right? And that got me a long way. But then I worked out, okay, sometimes people block that move. What can I do to replace this unsafe move with something else? And I came across this to cancel, and then eventually I came across that, which is like a lower frame rate move, and it sets me up for like another offense later. So now I can switch up the move I like to do with this move. So even if they blocked that, Well, now I'm ready for like my next offense. So that was the second thing I did. I sort of looked at the moves I'd like to use, learnt combos around those moves, and if they were unsafe things, I tried to replace the unsafe things with safer options but the same theme. So it just meant didn't seem like I was learning a whole new move set altogether. And that helped me a lot. And the reason why I say that is because in like normal martial arts, everyone has their own, even though we're all learning maybe the same fighting art, everyone has their own style. Some people are really good at certain things, other people are really good at other things without going to specifics. And they build their fighting game around those things initially, and they become really good at that, and they expand from there. They usually don't try and learn everything because there's just so many variations and it can get too overwhelming and you become kind of bad at everything. So it's really helpful to like focus on the things you're good at and bridge out from there, and then try and close up the gaps later. Like that's the plan, right? So you're trying to strengthen a really strong offense at the start. Oh yeah, you don't really want to care about rank either, because if you're playing for your rank, that you'll play differently. You won't be playing to learn, you'll be playing to get your rank up. Now, it depends what your objective is. If your objective is to get really good at something, then it doesn't matter what rank you are. But if your objective is to get to a certain rank and then you're gonna quit or something, well then you'll play differently. You'll play to like get to that rank, but you're not gonna be playing for the long term. So I'm gonna give you an analogy where this will help. So let's say you wanted to be the God of Destruction in Tekken. Now, what do you want? Do you want the title of God of Destruction? Or do you want the skills of those that have the title of God of Destruction? Because if you want the title without the skills, then what if I just gave you that title right now? Like, is that what you want? And you probably find that's not what you want. You want the skills. Yeah, Courtesy says the skills as well from the chat. And that's right. Like, most of us will want the skills, right? And the title comes with the skill. And I'm the same. So yeah, don't really worry about your rank. Worry about your skill set. Because you might be secretly a Fujin in the red ranks, let's say. Like, and that's what you kind of want to feel good. You want to feel like you're strong for where you're at, right? So I much prefer the skills over the titles. And the titles will come with the skills, so yeah. Anyway, you know, sometimes it can be hard to sort of keep that in mind, but try and remember it. Anyway, once you worked on what you do as like the things you like to do, then you need to check off these 4 things. You need to see, once you've done all that, whether you know one air combo, whether you know one keep out move, one mix up if your character does that, and one throw if your character does that, right? And what I mean by the air combo, as soon as you're in the air, you need something long that you can kill them with, right? In my case, I can air combo them like these kind of ways. I can air combo them like this. So you need to pick one air combo and learn it. Now, before you try and work out the air combo, you need to work out what do you launch people with. So the first air combo I learned in this game was this one. And this move here into this, basically. That was the first one I learned. And guess what? I tried to use it in a match and I couldn't pull it off. And the reason why is because I could never get this move. So before you learn the air combo, you need to learn how to get people into the air with whatever the move is that you like to use. Now, I worked out that this move is pretty much, for me, almost impossible to get them in the air. But I did work out I can get people in the air quite consistently with that move. I can get them into the air quite consistently with that move, and a couple of other options that I've got. So yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to work out how to get them in the air, execute that. Once they're in the air and you are finding you're actually able to air people, then learn the air combo for it. And you want at least one of those. The keep out move, what I mean by this is if an opponent's running towards you, you need a move that's going to keep them away from you and sort of counter them running in and attacking you. Now, one thing I can do is I can do this move and launch them. So a lot of times I try and catch people running into me and doing that. Some people that have like things where they like do some sort of kick, but they're like really close and it keeps them out, or they do like things like that. I think Brian's got like lunges and stuff. Each character's different, but you want some sort of move that if someone was to charge you, you can kind of keep them away so it stops them from just running in and just attacking you constantly. And you can kind of get good combos out of them. The mix-up is pretty straightforward. You need to have a situation where you have a choice where you can hit them high, mid, or low, or high or low, or mid or low, something like that, something they have to guess. So in this case, I can hit the mid using that, which puts me into blue. I can also hit them low like that, And that alone is probably going to get you past red ranks if you just had a mix-up. If you can get into a situation where you're applying your mix-up, because the people will guess, like they'll guess wrong, and you can read them. Also, I have other options. I have like a high here as an example, and there's another one. Now the throw, you need to know a throw because sometimes you're in throw range. Obviously try and learn your best throw. In my case, it's this one because I can go into a combo. But yeah, you definitely want to throw because they're kind of helpful. Okay, now if you don't have one of those four, or if you don't have those four things, you need to learn them. So if you don't say, oh, well, I never do a mix-up because I've not naturally come across a mix-up, well, you're going to have to go and find one and you're going to have to learn it. So find something that's going to lead you into a mix-up situation that you like to do or that you could do. And yeah, you got to learn it, unfortunately. Yeah, like a lot of people are just going to like tell you things that are like, I just stick to it and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's general helpful advice, but it doesn't really give you the blueprint of, okay, how do I make this as efficient as possible, right? And the reason why I'm not saying the same stuff that the pros say is because a lot of that stuff you don't need until later, like advanced stuff. So I'm taking you through like the bare basics that you need to like piece your game up until you then have to hit the harder stuff. So basically the goal here is I'm going to try and take you through the easy stuff first, and then in time you'll be ready for the harder stuff, which is probably the things that you've been trying to do now, which has made playing this game difficult. So yeah. Okay, now once you've learnt one of each of those moves, don't learn any more moves until you can execute those in a live match pretty consistently. Now once you can do that, then that's your first level of offense. That's your only offense really. Then you want to repeat the process but add another move to each of those categories, and that's going to become your second level of offense. And the reason why you want multiple levels of offense in time is because people are going to be able to counter your first offense. And once they do that, you need something to fall back on. So yeah, that's pretty much the general offense side. Okay, there's a couple more points in offense. You just keep repeating the offense process until you've got enough offense varieties to get you to where you want to be. So you don't have to learn everything, just learn enough that's going to get you through. And maybe just having 3 is enough, because it's possible that players these days don't know the counters to every single thing, and you only need like up to 3 to be able to beat any player. Like it really depends on the current Tekken environment. The more sweaty the players, maybe the more you require. But yeah, so far I've found that 2 to 3 seems to be pretty good. Been pretty good, because you have ways to trick people, which then kind of like adds a little bit more complexity to your offenses, right? Because they don't know if you're going to cancel something into something else, into your second offense, or continue with the first offense. So like that's what I found. The other thing you want is from the start, you want to have a relatively safe neutral offense that you can apply at the start of the match. So my situation, I try to go into this straight into my mix-up. That's my like relatively safe neutral offense, and it's because this kicks a 13 frame kip. If they step back, I usually can hit them. The safest thing to do is obviously to step back, but you do want something in neutral so that if you want to be the dominant one in the match, well, you need a kind of a neutral offense. Otherwise, you're just going to be always defending their neutral offense first before you have a chance to attack. And that's pretty much it for offense. Now, next I want to move into defense, which is probably going to be your most useful thing. Basically, from orange ranks up, you're at a higher risk at being launched when you're moving forward than ever before. So it's time now to be more careful when you move forward. So what I mean is someone's going to do that and launch you if you move forward. And when you're moving forward, you're not blocking. So yeah, be very careful when you're like doing this stuff, because people will look out for that. And if you're within their range, they're going to hit you up with an air. And yeah, some of those airs are really quick, like the Kazuya Electric, for example. Okay, next thing you need to do is always block mid. Don't worry about blocking lows. Lows are kind of weak. They don't do a lot of damage. Most of them don't do any damage, really. Like, that's not really a lot of damage. The only ones that do damage are these ones, which are readable. So yeah, most characters don't even have these kind of ones. So just block mid the entire time unless you know for certain that a low is coming. And how will you know the low is coming? It's going to happen in time, because you're going to see people do them in the same situations. But right now you might not be used to that. So always block mid, because mid, if they hit you with a mid and it connects, they can do some crazy damage. But if they hit with the low, usually it's not a lot of damage. Usually it's very minimal. Unless it's like one of those ones, which, again, are very unsafe for them if you block them, so yeah. Another thing on defense, if you're finding that you're just getting beaten at the start of the round, or step back, that's your safest option. Unless you want to play the scissors, paper, rock game at the start, where you're sort of hoping your offense beats their offense, the safest thing to do is to step back and then go in. But, you know, I don't always apply that one because I like to try and like be offensive from the outset. It's up to you, but if we're talking defense, that's the safest thing. Okay, learn what moves are 14 frame and 15 frame launch punishable. And what I mean by that is every character has like a cheese move that exists for their kit that probably leads them into a launch. So Ling Xiaoyu's biggest cheese move is this. Now other characters, it's like the electric or it's like launches. There's just always a move that each character has. And if you block it, the electric's an exception, I wouldn't use that one. But if you block this move, basically someone could launch me in the air. So basically what you need to know is what moves is the character that I'm versing something that I can punish substantially with a launcher if I was to block it. And for Brian, it's like a lunge punch. This one, it's that. So yeah, try and learn a couple of those for your main opponents that you verse. So if you're always coming across Jins, try and find the one that's launch punishable. If you're always fighting Ling Xiaoyus, try and find the one that's launch punishable and practice that stuff. Because it just means that when you do block that move, you're ready to like air them and go into your combo. But apart from that, I would just not go too much into frame data at this point in time. Like, that's for later. But yeah, at lower ranks, people are going to love to use their cheese moves. So if you know how to identify them and block them and then punish them, then yeah, you'll probably just glide through like red ranks, to be fair. The other thing is don't bother learning to sidestep at this point. It's pretty hard to sidestep stuff. It's pretty advanced, to be fair, so don't even bother right now. I know it's really good and you'll need it later, but don't do it. It's just the time it's going to take you to learn when to do that. Like, you're better to use that time on the other stuff, basically. So don't even worry about the sidestep stuff. A lot of people on YouTube love to tell people, oh, Tekken's a 3D game, use the sidestep. Don't worry about it for now. Don't worry. And then on that note, don't bother practicing your reaction time stuff. So if you can't block this thing, don't bother practicing it for now. Like, practice the stuff that you can block. This stuff, you're going to learn how to block it in time just by playing. And it's something that you'll just need to focus on, like when you hit like blue ranks, really. Like, until then, your offense is going to get you through at the moment. Now, if you don't want to react to it, think about where you need to position yourself so that you don't get hit by it. So maybe you just always stand at this distance so that like the kick doesn't hit you, right? So maybe you go in, do your stuff, and then immediately step back just in case they're going to do their little like launcher cheese move, right? And also the other thing is with like reading stuff, there are some moves that you just can't read. Like, good luck trying to read that move real quick. Like, you might be able to, but some of them are just so quick that I don't think it's really humanly possible to react to everything perfectly. Like, sometimes people are reading the situation and not the actual like the movement of the character. So they're reading like, I might like to go jab and into that kick every time. So every time I engage this person, I do this. So then that person knows, this person likes to jab and then low kick most of the time. So every time I see a jab, I'm just going to crouch low because it seems like that's what they want to do. So when you're versing an opponent, people like to do patterns. I like to do this pattern. All right. Now, it turns out that when I'm in this stance, if someone was to jab me, I can't do this move after it. The jab beats that move. So if you notice that there's an opponent doing things all the time, then you want to keep an eye out on them and start recognizing them. You might not know the solution to them yet, but just try and like keep a bank of things in your mind because it's going to be helpful for later when you're learning the counters. I wouldn't recommend it like orange ranks to like learn the counter to that specifically right now because every character's got their own. There's too much. Like, you may not even have an offense yet, right? You may not even be blocking mid yet. You may not even know how to do like a keep out or to avoid a keep out. How to keep your distance in certain situations. Like, do you want to play really close or really far away? Do you have a close offense? Do you have a far away offense? What do you do if the opponent like wants to run at you and kick you, etc., right? Which is stuff we got covered earlier. Which leads me to avoid getting into positions where people are likely to throw you. So if you're fighting a king and he likes to be close and then to throw you immediately after he does some jabs, you could go off and learn how to throw break, but that's going to take you ages. It's easier just to learn how to not be that close. So maybe I'll try and keep King a little bit further away, or I'll try and do more like ducking kind of offensive stuff just in case he decides to throw the jab out. Like that stuff helped me avoid throws, so I don't have to read the throw, I just avoid the situation. So I noticed that when people do their blues, if they're really close and you block the blue, they love to like throw you at the end of it. And so usually all the time after I get hit by a blue, I just duck, just because usually people are throwing me at the end. Not all the time, but that's what I found. And then with throws, just assume every single one, if you do get thrown, is a 1+2 break, because that's usually what people are doing. And if you press 1+2, there's a good chance that it'll accidentally activate the square or triangle break if you messed up, which might get out of the throw anyway. So just assume it's square triangle or 1+2 until you actually know how to break out of throws like later, but you'll practice that later on. And that's pretty much it. Don't bother learning how to fight on both sides either. Just learn one side. Like, and this comes out of the thinking of that you are going to have bad habits that you develop when you're trying to learn how to fight on this side. And if you go over to the other side and do the same stuff, then now when you have to correct those bad habits, you have two sides to correct. And also it means that you're, instead of learning things on one side, you're now going to halve the time per side. So it's going to take you twice as long to get as good as it would take me to get good on that side. So what I do is I try and get really good on this side, and then I naturally teach this side by not practicing it. It's just I learn it from matches. So I never practice that side. I just practice through live matches. So I usually just do it all here. And then yeah, I'm not as good on the other side, but you sometimes end up there, and then that's where you get your learning in. So yeah, that's how I did that. Now I got some points for if you want to go to purple and blue ranks, which I'll cover, but I just want to check if there's anyone in the chat that wants to add to what I covered. So yeah, the game has visual I don't know if an orange rank person would need to notice, but we'll cover it. So the game does have visual cues sometimes that hint towards how you should have reacted. So I guess that move there, it has like a color when it hits the opponent that's meant to represent that it's not safe to sidestep it, but you can tell by the move, like it's a homing move, so if I was to sidestep it, I'd get hit. So, but like some moves, I don't know if I've got one to show. So when I hit the opponent, you see how like Ling Xiaoyu just looked like she just got fully winded? That's basically a visual cue to show you that you're at a frame disadvantage, which you are, -9. So if you were to click a button after that, you're probably going to get counter hit. There are some things like that, but there are also ones that trick you. So yeah, I'm at -11 there, so you could counter with a jab after that, but then that one I'm at -14, so you could like kind of punish me after that one. But you can kind of tell, because your character in that case, she still looks like she's ready to fight. But in the other situation, she's kind of not. She looks like she's just been hurt. Kazuya's a really good example. If you were to block his like little helicopter kick thing, he like fully staggers. So you know, oh yeah, I could probably do something here. But like that stuff I would say is like purple rank things that you'll notice. Orange rank, it doesn't really matter. And red ranks, no. Pretty much having a good offense is going to get you through red ranks. Purple ranks is just like good offense with probably blocking mid. And then the final thing, which is going to get you through purple ranks, is learn when it's your turn. So after I do that, you need to know, is it your turn? Can you hit me? What if I did this? Is it your turn? Maybe, maybe not. You have to know your frame data. In this situation, if I did that, it's your turn. But in this situation, it's not your turn. So how I've been trying to learn it is, I learn all the situations where it's not my turn. And then I know anything that's not those moves is when it's my turn. So yeah, that's pretty much like purple ranks. And then blue ranks is just pretty much everything else you've read on the internet, like learning how to defend, learning how to react, learning how to throw break, all that stuff that's annoying to do. That's like the blue rank stuff. Learning when to sidestep, etc, etc. Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover. I think that was too long, but hopefully you'll find that helpful.